handle.
Yeah,
Thank you all and have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you all the participants here. Thank you so much, dear.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
किससे आप लॉगिन कर रहे हो? किस आईडी से लॉगिन कर रहे हैं? मैम बिल्कुल डाला हुआ है वो हमने। मैम आप कुछ मत करिए। एक मिनट ना मैं आपको एक लिंक भेज रहा हूँ, ठीक है? एक सेकंड अभी लाइन पे नहीं, आपकी मेल आईडी पे लिंक आएगा, उससे आप लॉग इन कर लेना, ठीक है? बस हमें हाँ हाँ उससे ही कर लेंगे, मैं आपको भेज रहा हूँ एक सेकंड।
Is okay.
मैं एक सेकंड, मुझे थोड़ा सा टाइम देंगे ना, एक सेकंड कुछ सेकंड किसको है
इसमें ना चल रहे हैं।
एस करेंगे देखिए, मिला आपको लिंक आ गया होगा मेल पे। हाँ कर लिया मैम, ज्वाइन आ गया, प्रतिमा मूर्ति आ गए। आभा 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 मैम भी आ गई, पता नहीं, कोई नहीं, आपने ज्वाइन कर लिया ना? आप ज्वाइन एज ए पेरेंट्स हो जाएंगे, then फिर मैं आपको कर दूंगा। आप वही पूरा नाम डालिए, मेंशन करिएगा, है ना? प्रोफेसर डालने का रहेगा।
I think please mute your mics. It's on with the sound.
अब आप पैनल में आ गया।
आपका किसी का माइक ऑन है प्लीज?
हेलो, हाँ जी मैम, मैं वहाँ गया, वहाँ जहाँ आपका कैमरा है, कैमरा ऑन करिएगा। मैम इसकी मैं परमिशन नहीं देता हूँ, मुझे क्या मुझे ला रहा है मैम, ये मैं कैसे आपको बताऊँ? मैम नीचे देख रहे हैं, और 15 ये भाई साहब ये कमल की विंडो अपडेट कर देते हैं, उससे डिसेबल कर देते हैं, वहाँ पे तो क्या बाहर हटाओ, तुम दफा एक तीन विंडो का लिस्ट करो तो मुझे लगने लगी है आपके साथ दर्ज करने की कोई है यहाँ पे, कोई संभालेगा? कोई है संभालना?
Shalini, I think there are people are yet to join. I think why don't you take a break? I'm sitting. I can start up and then you can join in a little later. Is that okay with you?
Yeah.
I mean, because I think Dr. Atul is yet to join.
Pratima
Dr.
ma'am is here
Pratima
with
Murthy has
us.
come.
Pratima ma'am is here with us. I think we are waiting for Miss Ritu, and we are also waiting for Dr. Atul Ambekar from AIMS. So I am giving them a call.
Yeah.
I think 5 minutes more will take. Pratima ma'am, just give us 5-7 minutes. The panelists are joining.
Sure.
Yeah, I think it is better to call them, I think.
विज्ञान में पढ़ने वाले फोकस करते
Anuji, please let in Ritu Mehra ji in the panelist. She is able to join in the attendees. Anuji? Miss Ritu Mehra is there in attendees. Yeah, you can see Ritu Mehra. Ritu ji. अनुज जी प्लीज ये ऋतु मैम को ये इधर पैनलिस्ट में ऐड कर दीजिए. शी इज इन दी अटेंडीज.
I request all the participants, I welcome them. We are just starting the session because the earlier one just finished little late. So I thank all the participants for being so eager and being so much on time. And we have Ritu Mehra ji joined in. We already have Pratima ma'am who has joined. So just a few more minutes and we get starting. Shalini ji, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. I'm with you.
Okay, so we are touching a great number of about 200 persons already. That's congratulations to 4.
Thank you. And Dr. Atul is also about to join. I'm calling him.
So what we can do is we can perhaps begin because we will otherwise, we have other sessions also lined up. So perhaps Dr. Atul can speak after Dr. Murthy if you are okay with it because ma'am has joined
Absolutely.
already.
See, madam, we should be thankful to ma'am. You know, there is a family emergency and she just wrote to me and I'm so thankful and so happy to see ma'am virtually here. because she said I still try to make it. Thank you so much, ma'am. Seriously, I could understand. The way you have commented and the way you have joined here with us today. So I think we'll start with ma'am. It's my honor to introduce Professor Pratima Murthy here. She's a professor of psychiatry and head the Center for Addiction Medicine at National Institute of Mental Health and Neurosciences, Bangalore, India. This is one of the very renowned institution of India. She has been a consultant to save several various international agencies like United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime, the International Labour Organization, and the World Health Organization, WHO. Her special area of interest is in addiction treatment and outcome. She has helped and evaluated large workplace programs on addiction prevention and is currently interested in reducing risk factors for non-communicable diseases at workplace. She has been involved in the studies both in the clinical, community, and workplace settings. She has also led an epidemiological studies on well-being in the community and is particularly interested in applying concepts of personality and well-being to recovery from addiction. She has served as an international trainer in substance abuse. So I think a warm welcome on behalf of Ministry of Social Justice Empowerment, NISD, Anugrah, Center for Sustainable Development here, ma'am. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shalini. I just at the outset, it's a pleasure being here, and I have to leave abruptly. I just want to ask for apologies right in the beginning.
No.
So yeah, so I'm just going to maybe speak in the next couple of minutes, to tell you what has happened in terms of the drug scene and what young people need. So just this morning, I was in a case conference. Every week we have a case conference, and today's case conference was a 15-year-old girl who comes from a family where there are lots of people who have alcohol dependence on her father's side. And at the age of about 13, she started smoking cigarettes. And in the last year, she has been using MDMA or ecstasy. She has experimented heroin. She has used cannabis. She has used alcohol. She is HIV positive. This, I think, is a very, very important reflection of the way drug abuse is kind of panning out in our country. While we're talking about the COVID pandemic, we know that the drug epidemic has kind of hit us in various forms and in different parts of the country. About 15 or 20 years ago, we thought the drug problem was exclusively in the Northeast. Heroin was the problem. But over time, we've seen a lot of change in the patterns of drug use. In addition to illicit drug use, we have a growing problem of pharmacological drug use. In fact, the heroin epidemic, possibly the first cases of the heroin epidemic started in about the 1980s. And then we had a flurry of that. We have injecting drug use. We have pharmaceutical drugs like tapentadol and tramadol, high use of benzodiazepines. We know now that different populations are getting involved. Women, more and more women are getting involved in substance use. The age of use of substances is growing younger and younger, so more and more younger people are turning to substance use. The comorbidity associated with substance use, both communicable diseases and non-communicable diseases, is increasing. We are also seeing newer patterns of drug use apart from the pharmaceutical opioids. We are seeing spice, the synthetic cannabinoids. People are talking about the liberalization of the use of cannabis and the decriminalization. So we are having a lot of changes in this. Injecting drug use is a problem in many parts of the country. Hepatitis B and hepatitis C are growing health problems and again are reaching very alarming proportions in many parts of the country. Inhalant drug use, particularly in the lower socioeconomic strata, among children working, let's say, rat picking, etc., we're seeing that. Institutions are not free. Prisons, for example, we did a study where we found when we did an anonymous examination of urine, we picked up high levels of benzodiazepines. We picked up several other drugs, suggesting that even institutions like prison are not free from drug use. So obviously, one is the epidemiology of drug use. We are seeing an increase. We are seeing an earlier age of onset. We are seeing lots of comorbidity. What has changed about our understanding of drug use? We now know that drug use is not a moral problem. It's not a, it's not a primarily a criminal problem. It is a problem of young people. It is a problem associated with perhaps both genetics as well as the environment. We call it a gene into environment reaction. People who have a strong family history are likely to abuse drugs. People with difficult temperaments, like people who have difficulties in attentional impairment, they have psychiatric comorbidity, are likely to, turn to drug abuse as a way of dealing with it. Young people, peer influence is also a very important issue. So whether it's urban, whether it's rural, whether it's educated, whether it's uneducated, whether it's women or men, even among the elderly, we are seeing a growing problem of drug use. So it's almost a ubiquitous problem with severe consequences. So we now understand that addiction is a brain disorder. There are changes in the chemical components of the brain which increase the pleasure-inducing chemicals, which make people want to take drugs. And the habituation of drugs is also because of the brain changes. So we know that we need to be more empathetic towards people who use substances. We also know that it's not enough only to treat addiction, which is the tip of the pyramid. We need to treat people in early. We also need to prevent substance use by recognizing the vulnerabilities in people who turn to substances. Of course, both supply and demand are both areas that we need to take cognizance of. So I'll just make those as opening remarks before we take the discussion forward. Thank you.
We welcome Dr. Ambekar. Thank you, Pratima ma'am. That was really a wonderful start, and Shalini is also back here. Atulji, pleasure meeting you virtually. I have been associated with Ministry of Social Justice and I've heard your name a million times. But it is such a pleasure to see you virtually. I would request Shalini ji, if you'd like to introduce Dr. Ambekar and then move on further.
Yes, it's my pleasure. Hello, Dr. Atul. This is Dr. Shalini Taneja from FORE, Center for Sustainable Development. So, pleasure to have you here. So, a brief about Dr. Atul Ambekar. He is a psychiatrist with full-time interest in substance use disorder. He's a member of various expert bodies, including UN Strategies Advisory Group on Injecting Drug Use and WHO expert as an advisory and an expert on the panel on drug dependence. And he has been instrumental in developing the capacity building programs on opioid substitution therapy, what we call OST in India, and has been providing training to the staff from India as well as to other countries also. I'm very happy to share with you that he has authored number of research papers, practice guidelines, and training manuals. Harm reduction and drug policy are among his primary interest area. And we are very happy to have Dr. Atul with us today afternoon. And over to you, Dr. Atul. And we look forward for the challenges which you'll be sharing with our participants, and what are the various therapies and what are the innovative measures which your center is taking under your leadership. Over to you, Dr. Atul. We can't hear you, Dr. Atul. We can see you very, very clearly, yes, but we can't hear you. We can't hear you, Dr. Atul. Maybe you can mute yourself, then again you unmute yourself. So setting up with the new normal. So it happens. We all are dependent on technology nowadays. So
But I'm really amazed at the interest, and lot of questions, lot of interest, a lot of wonderful interactive observations that all your students, faculty, and all our NGO associates are showing. Amazing interest. So I think
thank you.
we should have a regular series like this.
Yes, yes, of course, of course. And since I've shared in the last panel also, and because students come here from different parts of the country,
Yeah.
and they stay in the hostel, and some are from the day scholars also. So when
Yeah.
they stay in the hostel, they are away from their families. They go through a lot of stress because assignments, then participation, then classes from day till even sometimes 9:30 also, depending upon the interest areas of the students. And
Yeah.
then they have summer internship, final placement, all that. So definitely, because of the peer pressure, they get involved sometimes. So I think this forum is very apt, and what even Dr. Kaushik in the last panel suggested, even Pratima ma'am has highlighted that one of example, I mean one of instance in today, which she shared is actually very insightful. So you're very sure and very correct, Dr. Abba. We must have these type of deliberation in association with ministry, with UN, and also involving the students, NGOs, and especially the rehabilitation center, because ultimately they are involving and they are adapting a lot of innovative healing practices.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Dr. Atul, I think he has joined. He has joined back. Dr. Atul.
You can never say about the connection problems anytime, anywhere.
Yeah. Dr. Atul, can you hear us? Dr. Atul, do you need any help? Please write in the chat box. Let me call him. Dr. Abba, I just spoke to Dr. Atul. He's trying to figure out there's some technical glitch on his part. So what we will do, we'll continue with the next speaker. We have with us Ms. Ritu Mehra.
But, Shalini, I think Dr. Murthy was still there. I think she said opening remarks, but I mean, does she have a presentation still? I mean, we can check up with ma'am. Dr. Murthy?
No, since this was a panel discussion, I don't have any presentation, but I thought we could make it interactive and, ask the students to ask us questions and go ahead with that.
Sure. So in that case, ma'am, since Dr. Ambekar is having some joining technical issues, we can have Madam Ritu Mehra to present her views, and then we can have a discussion after that.
Right. Thank you so much.
Miss Ritu Mehra. It is my
Great.
privilege to introduce you to the participants and the panelists here. She's an artist, she's a blogger, she is a public art practitioner, meditation trainer also. And she is actually technically an engineer by qualification, and who practice art and is focused on possibilities in combination and also mixing up various media elements for intervention in urban landscape and coexistence. And recently she has been awarded Junior Fellowship by Ministry of Culture, Government of India for her research in visual arts. Her first solo show was held in Triveni Gallery in the year 2011. And she has been the part of various gallery shows of her own, like Jahangir Gallery, Mumbai, Lalit Kala Gallery, and she has been involved in various, you can say that, compositions in Delhi, even the outside Delhi, even outside India also. And she has been the recipient of various fellowships. And she has also done various community projects in collaboration with Art for Change Foundation, and has been invited for the same in the few international residencies also, including Art Junctions, Sowing Seed. And she is practicing meditation also. She's also helping various students, middle age, and also other people through meditation skills, through healing techniques also. So over to you, Miss Ritu. We are very happy to have you here.
Thank you, Shalini, for your very elaborate introduction for me. I am humbled. Thank you so much. And see what I have today. I have certain things to share, because when I was invited in this panel, so it is about the out of the box thinking, the healing approaches, and all that. Shalini, can I share my screen? How can I share?
Yes, you can share your screen.
It has to be allowed from your side, I think.
Yeah. Anuji, please give Miss Ritu Mehra rights to share the screen.
Yes, madam. Share option, just record.
Yes, on the right hand side, Miss Ritu,
Yeah.
if you see.
Okay, on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Of the screen. So there is a layout option.
Yes, yes, share the,
Even I don't have rights to share my screen.
Because I can see the share button next to file and edit, but I don't, my screen option is it's not active.
So please give her the sharing rights. Even Rituji, you can speak in English also in between. We have a lot of NGO people, also rehabilitation center people who have joined with us. So आप उनसे open हिंदी में भी conversation कर सकती हैं. हमारे साथ student भी हैं. So
Great, great.
No problem.
Great, Shalini. Great, Shalini. So basically, most of the time, artists are confined to their studio space, as we all know. And all they're concerned are painting कर लिया, artwork बना लिया, and then उससे ज़्यादा उनको कुछ लेना देना है नहीं. So I had a vision to share, and I started experimenting with my art and meditation by combining these two practices together. And that addresses the larger picture of all the problems that we have in our society. So is it now, can I share my screen? So I have a presentation to share actually.
Anuji, please give sharing rights to Miss Ritu Mehra and to me also.
Okay, I think.
दिए तो है.
Madam,
you.
Your
is
screen
it
is visible,
Yes.
Miss Ritu?
Is it visible? Okay, all right.
You can make it full screen. Yes.
So So there are two things you see, art and meditation. So first half of the day we discussed about the problem. What is the problem? Substance abuse and how it happens. And just recently, I was hearing Dr. Pratima Murthy saying that it happens because because of the various chemical changes in the brain that make people want to try these drugs, and it's like a problem that a person doesn't have control on. They want to do it because something is going on inside them and they don't know what to do about it. Okay, so that is the one thing that is being told here which caught my attention, and that is it relates to what I'm going to say now also. So there are two things, art and meditation. Okay, so when we talk about meditation, so most of the people, they think that you have to become an ascetic or something. But here I'm giving you a hypothesis or my vision, you can say. So we hear this Sanskrit verse, Yad Pinde Tat Brahmande. So it means that what we have inside of us is also outside of us. So through the knowledge of microcosm, macrocosm can be known. All that is outside of us is also inside of us. And if we consider this as a hypothesis, we can say that all the problems that we have outside in the world are the manifestation of the problems that we have inside of us. So it also means that if we are messed up inside on individual level, so that mess will reflect in our life, the life of an individual. And hence, various individuals who combine to make, who are tiny, like tiny cells of the bigger organism we call society. So all these individuals who have problems inside, so how the society will be? It will be a messed up society only. So we will have all kind of problems. Drug abuse is one of them, and it is a big problem. So here the approach is through self-knowledge. First, know what is going on inside of us. So the physical body that we have, the brain and the nervous system, the digestive system, and everything, all the organs that we see in our body, that we have in our body, is the manifestation, is a reflection of this chakras. You can see the energy centers. In Sanskrit, we call them chakras. And we also have these 3 channels inside our body. It is written in ancient, yoga practices. We have this knowledge in our ancient texts and books. And so my approach is through self-knowledge, we can find out a solution. So what is happening in the brain when we say that, some chemical changes are happening and people are wanting to take the drug. So what is actually happening? So it is the imbalance of these chakras and the channels. So that is what is happening inside of us. That is manifesting on a gross level. It will manifest on our organs and in our mana, जिसे कहते हैं mind पे असर करता है ये जो imbalance होता है. लेकिन root cause क्या है? What is the root cause of the problem? The root cause is जो आपके अंदर energy centers हैं, the chakras inside our body are messed up. Their energies are messed up. So on right now I'm talking on a very gross level because in half an hour I want to cover more things. So अगर हम बहुत gross level पे भी समझेंगे इस बात को, तो we say that all the matter that is present on the earth is made of 5 elements. So even that includes our body, that includes the nature that we see, that it also includes the dead objects and the living beings, everything, like 100%, everything is made of 5 elements. So we keep on contaminating these 5 elements, and eventually our own body, mind, and overall well-being is contaminated. So you see, it is an environment issue. It reflects on, it hits back in these kind of ways. So what happens is, it is both ways. If you are messed up inside, your environment is messed up, your society is messed up. And if the society and the environment is messed up, the mess will reflect in the individual level also. So since अगर हम बात करते हैं कि अगर हम ये बात कहते हैं कि हम मेडिटेशन की बात करते हैं फॉर एग्जांपल, तो आई एम श्योर देयर आर मेनी पीपल हु आर इंटरेस्टेड, पर कई लोगों को वो चीज़ थोड़ी सी डिफिकल्ट लगती है, सब्जेक्ट थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट होता है अप्रोच करने में, उसको एब्जॉर्ब करने में, उसको अंडरस्टैंड करने में, बिकॉज लोग उसको बहुत सीरियस सब्जेक्ट समझते हैं. So basically, going out and addressing on gross level, medicine लेना, ये सारी चीजें, you know, everything has to come together. You have to join the dots, all the dots together. So हमने art का सहारा लिया अपनी approach में, meditation plus art, because art is one universal language and that is not at all boring. I think everybody, छोटे बच्चे, बड़े, बूढ़े, everybody, any community, the old people, the transgenders, the people who have suffered abuse in their life, who have been into substance abuse. So everybody understands art. You see, आपको कुछ भी problem है, चाहे आपको नहीं भी है, ठीक है? अब art को हम जरूर समझते हैं, music को हम जरूर समझते हैं. So it is a universal language. So it might have, a therapy, the power of therapy, and the understanding of ourselves through meditation, and then expression. Art is, what is art? Art is self-expression. You are expressing yourself. So first, the thing is self. What is self? So ये जो कम्युनिटी बेस्ड प्रोजेक्ट्स हम लोगों ने एक्सप्लोर करना शुरू किया था, तो ये एक हम लोगों ने इसको सोचा कि हम कम्युनिटी बेस्ड आर्ट प्रोजेक्ट्स करें, जिसमें कि बहुत सारा काम चल रहा है. जैसे आप देखते होंगे, दिल्ली में सुनते भी होंगे कि पब्लिक प्लेसेस में आर्ट हो रहा है. तो हम लोगों ने उसमें सोचा कि कम्युनिटीज को इन्वॉल्व करके, चाहे वो बच्चे हों, चाहे वो ड्रग अब्यूज के पेशेंट्स हों, चाहे वो बड़े हों, कोई किसी भी तरीके की कम्युनिटी है, तो उनको इन्वॉल्व करके आर्ट के थ्रू उन अर्बन स्पेसेस को ट्रांसफॉर्म किया जाए. ऑल्सो वी वांट टू वर्क ऑन वाटर बॉडीज एंड द 5 एलिमेंट थिंग्स. तो ये एक्सपेरिमेंट क्या है, दिस इज व्हाट आई एम शेयरिंग विथ यू. तो जो हम लोगों ने एक शुरू किया था, तो इसका हमने नाम दिया है स्वार्थ, स्व, अर्थ. स्व, ये बड़ा अच्छा वर्ड है. स्वार्थ जो है, ये 2 वर्ड से मिलके बना है. स्व, स्व इज सेल्फ, एंड अर्थ इज, उसका मीनिंग क्या है, हमारा आइडेंटिटी क्राइसिस है, सेंस ऑफ बिलोंगिंग इज लॉस्ट. तो आप उसको ढूंढ रहे हो कि भाई ये सेल्फ का मीनिंग क्या है. आप कई तरीकों से ढूंढते हो. आप जब ड्रग्स का सहारा भी हम ले रहे हैं, आपका सेंस ऑफ आइडेंटिटी, आपका सेंस ऑफ बिलोंगिंग लॉस्ट है. आई डोंट बिलोंग टू एनी प्लेस. इट कैन लीड, दिस काइंड ऑफ थॉट्स कैन लीड इनटू दिस काइंड ऑफ ट्रबल फॉर एन इंडिविजुअल, कि भाई मैं कहाँ बिलोंग करता हूँ. अभी सोशल मीडिया का टाइम है. I cannot connect with people. I don't have a, so because people want to belong to certain groups. तो अब peer pressure, अगर हम ड्रग लेते हैं तो we will be part of the group. और अगर हम ड्रिंक करेंगे तो we will be included. So you see, on a subtle level, the things are, the sense of belonging, the meaning of, self. So we started with a group of children when we started. तो हम लोगों ने हेरिटेज स्कूल वसंत कुंज के साथ ये एक्सपेरिमेंट शुरू किया था. तो उसमें हम लोगों ने एक मेडिटेशन वर्कशॉप की थी. मेडिटेशन जिसमें कि हम लोग ये 5 एलिमेंट्स की बात कर रहे हैं, और हम एक फिजिकल जेस्चर से कनेक्शन बनाते हैं, और हम आइज क्लोज करके वी आर शोइंग ग्रेटिट्यूड टुवर्ड्स द प्लैनेट, टुवर्ड्स द एलिमेंट्स, that we are acknowledging the fact that our body is made of these 5 elements. हमारा माइंड, बॉडी, सोल जो है, हमारी ये 5 एलिमेंट्स का इसमें कंट्रीब्यूशन है, उसी वजह से हमारा एग्जिस्टेंस है. तो ये बात, ये छोटे बच्चों के 4th ग्रेड के बच्चे हैं, इन लोगों ने बहुत अच्छे से समझी थी. और जब हम इस मैसेज के साथ मेडिटेट करने बैठे, तो ये रिस्पॉन्स बहुत अच्छा था बच्चों का. दे अंडरस्टूड दिस मैसेज वेरी वेल. एंड देन टू कंसोलिडेट द मैसेज, व्हाट वी डिड वाज कि वी स्टार्टेड डूइंग सम आर्ट. So what we did कि इनके साइंस में चल रहा था, रूट्स के ऊपर प्लांट, द वेरियस सेक्शंस ऑफ द प्लांट्स, उनको समझाया जा रहा था. तो हम लोगों ने प्लांट्स को ही लिया एज अ मेटाफोर. मेटाफोर मतलब इज अ सिंबल ऑफ एन इंडिविजुअल, कि एक प्लांट है वो आपका एक इंडिविजुअल का सिंबल है. तो हम इसमें ये कह रहे हैं कि आप अपनी रूट्स पे जाइए, अपनी रूट्स को एक्सप्लोर करिए, कि अगर आपको आपके क्वेश्चंस के आंसर चाहिए, आपके क्वेश्चन कुछ भी हो सकते हैं, सोशल हो सकते हैं, आपके इंडिविजुअल हो सकते हैं, आपके माइंड में क्या चल रहा है वो एक इंडिविजुअल को ही पता है, हमारी माइंड में क्या चल रहा है. एंड माइंड कैन रियली बी अ डेंजरस प्लेस. ओके, सो गोइंग टुवर्ड्स द रूट्स, don't be scared of going towards the roots. You will definitely get some answers. So the roots, so we expose the roots of these tiny plants, and you can see this is the bigger, and then we hanged it with the help of threads. और फिर इन इसके बीच में आप देखेंगे ये जो स्लिप इन्होंने डाली है, ये मेडिटेशन के बाद इनको कैसा लगा, इन बच्चों का फर्स्ट एक वर्ड में इनको अपना एक्सपीरियंस बताना था. तो yes, so many of them they talked about silence, and they talked about peace and all that things. So ये जो साइलेंस है, जो आप अर्थ के एटमॉस्फेयर के बाहर जाइए तो द होल यूनिवर्स इज कंपोज्ड ऑफ साइलेंस, द प्रोफाउंड साइलेंस जिसको कहते हैं. तो वो एक्सपीरियंस करने को मिला इन छोटे बच्चों को, तो उन्होंने ये उस पे लिखा था. सो ओके, सो दिस वाज द फर्स्ट एक्सपेरिमेंट दैट वी डिड. फिर हम लोगों ने रूरल एरिया में भी एक्सपेरिमेंट किया. हम लोगों ने रूरल एक विलेज में गए हम, जहाँ पर ये ट्राइबल विलेज था. ये इंटरनेशनल रेसिडेंसी में थ्रू हम लोगों ने किया था, जिसमें we were like around 20 artists from different countries, Vietnam, Scotland, Europe, America, from every place. We had these artists who were addressing the issue. So I had my own way, holistic approach, the yoga approach, because I am from India. So if I will talk in an international forum, I will talk about yoga definitely. तो यहाँ पर हमने बच्चों को ये चीजें बताई. हमने उनको चक्रा चार्ट बताया. हम लोगों ने उन्हें बताया कि आपकी बॉडी 5 एलिमेंट से बनी हुई है और मदर अर्थ कितनी इंपॉर्टेंट है. मैंने एक चीज को देखा, जब हम इन बच्चों से बात कर रहे थे, तो कंसेप्ट ऑफ देश, वो कहाँ बिलोंग करते हैं, उनके लिए वो जो छोटा सा गांव है वही उनका देश है. उनको ये भी नहीं पता कि इंडिया कितना बड़ा है और उसका मतलब क्या है, इंडिया का मतलब क्या है. तो ये बहुत छोटे बच्चे थे. इवन बड़े बच्चे भी ये गांव से नहीं निकले हैं, ये गांव के अंदर ही हैं. तो उनसे लैंग्वेज उस तरीके की हम लोगों ने की. लेकिन जो सेल्फ नॉलेज है, जो आपके अंदर का नॉलेज है, दैट रिमेन्स द सेम अबाउट द चक्रास एंड द एनर्जी सेंटर्स, मेकिंग द जेस्चर. वो जो हमने फिजिकल जेस्चर बनाया था मदर अर्थ के साथ, सो वो हम 5 एलिमेंट्स के साथ वो चीजें करते हैं. Then we had these prayers, whatever, and they were coming up with innovative ways of saying things and expressing themselves. तो उस सेल्फ एक्सप्रेशन में, जिसको आर्ट हम कहते हैं, इसमें भी हम लोगों ने एक्सपेरिमेंट्स किए. फॉर एग्जांपल, ये हम लोगों ने देखा था कि इन बच्चों के पास टॉयज नहीं थे. तो व्हाट दे यूज्ड टू डू इज कि जो पैकेट से, पेपर से, या फिर ब्रोकन फ्लिप फ्लॉप्स होते हैं, जो चप्पल जिसे हम कहते हैं, उसके नीचे ये लोग पहिए लगा देते थे और उसको ड्रैग करके ले जाते थे. एक पीस ऑफ ब्रोकन मिरर है, उससे ये कुछ बना लेते थे. तो हम लोगों ने ऐसे बहुत सारे ऑब्जेक्ट्स इन लोगों को बनाने के लिए कहा, और उसको हम लोगों ने वन कलर, ब्लू कलर में डिप करने के लिए कहा, बिकॉज ब्लू रिप्रेजेंट्स इटर्निटी और द सेल्फ नॉलेज और whatsoever. We were trying to tell them कि भाई जैसे जितना बड़ा आकाश है उतना ही बड़े हम अंदर से हैं. तो उनको इस तरीके की लैंग्वेज से हम लोगों ने बात की. तो एक बहुत बड़ा अप्रोच था उसका, कि जब आप एक टीनेज ईयर्स में एक चाइल्ड होता है, वो बड़ा होता है, उसके अंदर तरह तरह के कॉम्प्लेक्स आने चालू होते हैं, यूथ के अंदर आते हैं. तो आप उस टाइम पे आपने एक सीड, ये सोइंग, इस रेसिडेंसी का नाम था सोइंग सीड्स. तो एक सीड आपने इनके जहन में डाल दिया कि आप एक बहुत बड़े ब्रह्मांड का पार्ट हो, आप इतने छोटे नहीं हो. आप चाहे एक छोटे से गांव में भी रह रहे हो, लेकिन आप बहुत बड़े हो. आप अपनी वर्थ को पहचानो. जो बाहर से आपको हम लोग जैसे जाते थे, तो उन्होंने देखा हमारे कपड़े और उनके कपड़ों में फर्क था, तो उन्हें गरीब, उनको लगता था वो गरीब है. तो हम लोगों ने बोला कि नहीं, बस ये कपड़े ही फर्क है, क्योंकि हमारे देश में ऐसे कपड़े मिलते हैं, तुम्हारे देश में ऐसे मिलते हैं, हम सब लोग एक ही बराबर हैं, हम लोग सेम ही हैं. तो वो कॉम्प्लेक्स वहां पे ना आए. तो ये कोलेबरेटिव एक प्रोजेक्ट था. तो उसके बाद ये बहुत एंथुसियाज्म से बच्चे जो है इन्होंने पार्टिसिपेट किया था. तो व्हाट वी डिड वाज, एक्चुअली वी पेंटेड ह्यूज माउंटेन. हमने आर्ट वर्क का नाम हमने ये दिया था, ये इनके जो विलेज में, इट वाज अ वेरी हिली ट्रेन, एंड पूरी जो टोपोग्राफी थी उसमें स्लेट स्टोन थे, उसकी रॉक्स थी. कुछ ज्यादा खेती बाड़ी होती नहीं थी, लेकिन माइनिंग और ये सारी एक्टिविटीज थी. तो हम लोगों ने एक हिल्स पे ये बच्चे और आर्टिस्ट हम लोग मिलके वी पेंटेड इन अ वे. ये सारी रॉक्स नहीं हमने पेंट की थी, कि हम जब दूर से देखते थे तो ऐसा लगता था कि बिकॉज इट वाज अ स्लेट स्टोन, सो इट वाज अ रिफ्लेक्टिव, सेमी रिफ्लेक्टिव सरफेस. तो जब आसमान का रंग बदलता था तो वो उसका रिफ्लेक्शन उस पत्थर पे आता था, तो वो ऐसा ही लगता था आसमान का टुकड़ा पहाड़ पे गिर पड़ा है. तो जैसे कि मैं आपको बताती हूँ, अब जब पीछे देखेंगे तो आसमान के रंग के साथ साथ पत्थर का रंग भी अलग है. तो इट वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग जो दिन के अलग अलग टाइम में उसको वॉच करना, और एंड आल्सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द बजट आल्सो कि आर्ट वर्क कैसा रहेगा। तो ये गांव में बच्चों ने ये किया था और उसको हम लोग यहाँ दूर से बैठकर उसको देखते थे और बातें करते थे। तो लेकिन ये जो मैसेज हम देना चाह रहे थे, तो ये इस तरीके के आर्ट वर्क की प्रैक्टिस के बाद जो है ये मैसेज बहुत प्रोफाउंड वे में इनके जहन में उतर गया था। I am the eternal spirit, I am Shiva, I am Shiva, Chidanand Rupah, Shivoham Shivoham. So the self of the meaning of self, इतना छोटे नहीं हैं हम ह्यूमन बींग्स, हम बहुत बहुत बड़े हैं। तो ये बात इनके अंदर, जो बच्चों के अंदर हम लोगों ने सीड्स डालकर आए थे, और ये जो बात हम लोगों ने बोली थी, और आर्ट के थ्रू इस बात को कहना, वो कभी भी नहीं भूलेंगे वो बच्चे उस चीज को कि हम लोगों ने ये काम किया था। क्योंकि ये जो इस तरीके के प्रोजेक्ट्स हम लोग रोज रोज नहीं करते, और उन लोगों ने भी जब इसे किया था, तो इट इज अ मैसेज, लाइक यू नो, इट कैन कन्वे द मैसेज इन अ वेरी 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 प्रोफाउंड वे। एंड डेफिनेटली आर्ट इज अ थेरेपी। जब आप उस टाइम पे हम कर रहे होते, हमने 2 हफ्ते तक काम किया था ये, तो उस टाइम पे एक एनर्जी लेवल और हर चीज डिफरेंट हो जाती है। तो ये जो एक्सपीरियंसेस होते हैं, ये एक इंडिविजुअल को रोकने में और उसको सपोर्ट करने में और उसको एक नया पर्सपेक्टिव देने में बहुत ज्यादा हेल्पफुल होते हैं। So this is what have been the my vision, which I started, and I started experimenting with this vision, and we are proposing, we are inviting more communities and NGOs ki जिनके साथ we are open to work with them, कि आपकी जो भी communities है, transgenders हैं, old people हैं, drug abuse patients हैं, या बच्चे हैं, जो भी हैं, तो we can focus on a solution. We can try doing transforming the spaces, क्योंकि ऑलरेडी एक काम चल रहा है, पब्लिक आर्ट में काम चल रहा है, लेकिन क्यों ना उसे कम्युनिटी के साथ करें, क्यों ना उसे सब लोग साथ में करें। एक एग्जांपल देती हूँ कि अगर मान लो जैसे अभी वाटर बॉडीज पे काम चल रहा है दिल्ली गवर्नमेंट का, या फिर किसी फॉरेस्ट पे काम चल रहा है, नेचुरल एनवायरनमेंट में काम चल रहा है, तो आप उस वाटर बॉडी के ऊपर अगर बच्चों ने आर्ट किया है, वो कभी भी उसे गंदा नहीं करेंगे। पानी को गंदा कौन करता है, वाटर को गंदा कौन करता है, कि भाई वो जो कम्युनिटी से वही लोग करती हैं। तो जब आप ये बात को समझ जाएंगे और उसको गंदा करना बंद कर देंगे, वो सफाई आपके अंदर रिफ्लेक्ट करेगी, वो चीजें हमारे अंदर रिफ्लेक्ट करेंगी। जस्ट एक बिगर पर्सपेक्टिव है उस प्रॉब्लम को अप्रोच करने के लिए, इट्स अ बिगर पर्सपेक्टिव। सो दिस इज व्हाट आई हैड टू शेयर, एंड probably all I had to share. So that's all.
Rituji, this was absolutely amazing presentation, and I was watching it with a lot of interest, because the way you knit it with the spirituality and our traditional Indian scriptures and cultures. This is the first time, I mean, this perspective, this is the first time that I have seen it, and many thanks to Shalini ji, who got in our Anugrah fold such a wonderful, brilliant speaker. And I'm sure what you actually explained today, this goes away from the treatment or the external factors, and it goes within. And what you rightly said, that मतलब जो अंदर होता है, जो internally होता है, वही बाहर manifest होता है. So many scientists have written about that. But the way you traced it to Shivoham and your internal consciousness and how to go about it, that was so completely mind blowing and very very amazing. Thank you so much, Shalini, and now I hope Rituji would be a regular panelist with us as well, not only in substance abuse, ma'am, but I think we, like Shalini must have briefed you, that tomorrow we are covering senior citizens and day after we are covering transgender issues. So what you say is the basic principle, it is the foundation of life, these principles. Right. And they are applicable in whether any social issue that you may think about, right? Thank you so much. And now over to Shalini. I just wanted to thank her personally.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Yeah. Now I think we can request Dr. Atul. Dr. Atul.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yes, you are audible. Can you switch on your camera if possible?
I think I have switched on my camera. I can see my own video.
Okay.
But we are not able to see you.
Can you see
I'm
me,
extremely sorry.
Dr.
Let me
Abha,
check the settings.
Miss
Well, it's
Ritu?
not showing my video to me. I don't know why it's not showing to you.
No issues, no issues. I think,
No issues.
yes, you can share also. Now you can share your screen also, Dr. Atul.
No, actually, I'm on phone. I have joined by phone.
Okay.
So I'll request if you can, have you received my presentation?
Yeah.
So if someone could just share my presentation slides.
Yes, yes. Kamalji, please give me the rights to share.
Madam, I done this share slides to other doctor.
You
Yeah.
can share the slides.
मैडम मैंने इनको प्रेजेंटेटिव बना रखा है, he can share.
Atulji, you are also presenter.
भाई मैं फोन पर ज्वाइन किया है इसलिए मैं नहीं कर पाऊंगा.
आप कमल जी मुझे दीजिए राइट्स. I have his presentation with me. Kamal ji, please give me the rights. I will share. I will be very happy to share. Oh,
Yes.
thank you. ये पीपीटी मुझे शेयर करनी है. ये कहाँ है? ये नजर ही नहीं आ रही मुझे. देखो, आ जाओ वीडियो स्टॉप. ओके, शेयर तो कर दी मैंने.
Yeah, madam, visible.
We can see it. Shalini, इसको full screen कर दीजिए. We can see it. Yeah, it is visible.
It is visible now. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Please go ahead, Dr. Atul.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, my most sincere apologies. Sometimes technology does decide to play spoil sport. So while technology helps us in bringing us together, sometimes it does play these games also with us. I have been attending average 2 or 3 such webinars every week. But it's a rare occasion to go through these difficulties. I don't know what happened today. But anyway, I'm glad that to have received this opportunity. I am also very glad that I'm in the midst of such an august company of very diverse kind of audience which I am interacting with today. So what I will do is, keeping with the theme, I'll tell with this group little bit about what is the substance use disorders or addictive disorders. What are they? How do we provide treatment for them? And secondly, in the later half of my talk, I will very briefly touch upon what we as our center, the National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, have been doing. Is the screen visible to everyone?
Yes.
Is the full screen slides visible to everyone? Because I think it's not full screen at this moment, or the screen slideshow mode. Yeah, now it is. Thank you.
It's okay now.
Right. So next slide, please. So as we know, the drugs or substances, we can see on the screen here names of various drugs, from alcohol to tobacco to opioids to sleeping pills and so on. What's common across all of them are that in scientific terms, they are all known as psychoactive substances, which means right from tea or coffee to alcohol to cocaine, all of them share this property that taking them gives you pleasure, and it can lead to repeated intake, which can lead to development of addiction. That's what it is common about all of them. What we as a society have done for our convenience is try to make some kind of distinction between them, such as we call some of them as legal drugs, others as illegal drugs. We call some of the drug use as pharmaceutical or medical use, and other as recreational use. We regard use of some substances as socially acceptable, tea or coffee, or some substances as very deviant, heroin or cocaine. At the end of the day, all of them are just psychoactive substances which human beings have been consuming for thousands of years, and until the civilization as we know stays, perhaps in one form or the other, one or the other chemical will be used continually by the human society. Next slide, please. Right. So before we go into the treatment issues, it's important to bust some of the common myths and misconceptions which are widely prevalent in the society as far as drugs and addiction are concerned. One is that only bad people use drugs. Then there is a myth that drug use, which means addiction. Any drug use, it in fact means addiction. There is also a myth that people with addiction don't want to quit. Then, if they have to be treated, they must be put in a so-called de-addiction or rehabilitation center for few weeks to few months in a jail-like setting. Only then they will be able to come out of this problem. And God forbid, if someone stops taking drugs and then restarts taking this clearly indicates presence of poor willpower. Next, please. But as we can see, these are all myths. Using a chemical, previous one, please, previous one. Yeah, so using a chemical to change your mental state has been a universal human phenomena. Since the day we became civilized, we stopped eating animals and started eating plants. We discovered that some plants, fruits, seeds, or rotten grain, they can lead to a change in our mental status. We start feeling different and happier. And that's when perhaps the humans started using one or the other substances. Also, it's important to understand that just drug use may not mean addiction. There are plenty of people who lead very stable lives throughout their life using one or the other substances, but really not developing addiction towards them. Just look at many of us. Perhaps many of us may be using tea or coffee, yet may not be actually have developed addiction to it. Also, once people develop addiction, then they do want to quit, but they are unable to do so, and that's what this whole illness is all about. So they need our help and support for this. Finally, the treatment of addiction must be voluntarily, respecting the total autonomy of the affected individual. It cannot be provided against the person's will. And also, even if someone starts taking drugs again, which means the relapse, it's a part and parcel of recovery process. Next slide, please. I noticed that I have been talking only in English. Would the audience expect me to talk in Hindi as well? What would the audience prefer? What would the audience prefer?
सर हिंदी में भी बोल सकते हैं क्योंकि हमारे साथ कुछ रिहैबिलिटेशन सेंटर्स भी हैं, एनजीओस भी हैं. You are, they will be very happy to hear you speaking in Hindi also.
चलिए फिर हम मिक्स करके बोलते हैं, फिर हम इंग्लिश हिंदी दोनों में. जी, सो आई विल बी ग्रेटफुल अगर हम इसको स्लाइड शो में कर पाए स्लाइड को. तो सो व्हाट आई वाज ट्राइंग टू हाईलाइट इज द डिफरेंस बिटवीन यूज एंड एडिक्शन. तो जिसको हम ट्रैफिक लाइट के, इसको आगे बढ़ाते जाएं अब प्लीज, जिसको हम ट्रैफिक लाइट के एग्जांपल से समझ सकते हैं. इफ यू आर जस्ट नो प्रीवियस प्लीज, यस. सो जस्ट लाइक ट्रैफिक लाइट, अगर आप सिर्फ ड्रग्स को यूज कर रहे हैं किसी भी पदार्थ को और उससे कोई नुकसान नहीं हो रहा है, तब आप ग्रीन जोन में हैं, यूज वाले. पर अगर आप इस तरह से इस्तेमाल कर रहे हैं कि उससे आपको नुकसान हो रहा है, या आप रेड जोन में है कि जब उसके बिना रह पाना मुश्किल है आपके लिए, ये जो दोनों सिचुएशंस हैं, हार्मफुल यूज या डिपेंडेंस, इन्हें हम कहते हैं ड्रग यूज डिसऑर्डर. इसका मतलब ये वो बीमारियां हैं, ये जब हो जाएं तब इलाज की जरूरत है. So use does not mean addiction. Use may be of different pattern, without harm, with harm, developing dependence. If it is with harm and dependence, that means it's a disorder and you require treatment. Next slide, please. In any society, there is actually a pyramid-like structure. So at the base of that pyramid, we have a large number of people who are not using drug. The next slide, please. And then at the tip of the pyramid, we have a small proportion of people who are actually suffering from drug use disorders. However, even if a small proportion of people are affected by drug use disorders, they are the ones most affected by addiction problems. They are the ones most responsible for the total burden of drug problems in the society. तो भले ही मुट्ठी भर लोग हों जो नशे की बीमारी का शिकार होते हैं, मगर इलाज की, मदद की सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत इन्हीं लोगों को होती है. तो सोसाइटी में नशा बहुत सारे लोग करते होंगे, कुछ ही लोग ऐसे हैं जो बीमारी का शिकार होते हैं, सबसे ज्यादा इलाज की जरूरत इनको है. नेक्स्ट स्लाइड प्लीज. राइट, आखिर क्या है सब्सटेंस यूज डिसऑर्डर्स? व्हाट आर दे? वी मस्ट रिमेंबर इज, नेक्स्ट प्लीज, that substance use disorders are chronic, relapsing, multifactorial disorders. I think in the beginning, Dr. Pratima Murthy was making also this point. Most reasons why people develop addiction are partly biological and then partly environmental. And none of these factors actually are responsible, which are responsible for development of addiction, are within the control of individuals themselves. Also, in this respect, drug addiction or drug use disorders are very similar to other diseases such as diabetes or hypertension. So, जिस तरह किसी को डायबिटीज हो जाती है, किसी को ब्लड प्रेशर की बीमारी हो जाती है, दमे की बीमारी हो जाती है, इन बीमारियों पर इंसान का खुद का बस नहीं होता. उसी तरह एडिक्शन भी ऐसी बीमारी है जिस पर इंसान का खुद का पूरी तरह से बस नहीं होता. अगर हो जाती है एक बार बीमारी, तो जिस तरह से बाकी बीमारियां हैं, डायबिटीज, ब्लड प्रेशर, उसी तरह से एडिक्शन के लिए भी दवाइयों की, साइकोसोशल इंटरवेंशन यानी काउंसलिंग और सोशल सर्विसेज की, और कुछ अपनी जीवन शैली में, लाइफस्टाइल में बदलाव की, इसकी जरूरत पड़ती है. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. आखिर इंडिया में कितने लोगों को जरूरत है? हाउ मेनी इंडियंस नीड हेल्प फॉर ड्रग यूज प्रॉब्लम्स? एज वी कैन सी इन दिस फिगर, देयर आर लिटरली at least 6 to 7 crore people in India who are suffering from drug use disorders, alcohol and drug use disorders. I am not saying those who are using only. These are the people, estimated number as per government reports, which require help, which are suffering from alcohol and drug use disorders. Next, please. Next, please. Yeah. And this treatment which is available in India is actually available by some government settings, some NGO settings, as well as in the private sector. There is this one government setting, there are some de-addiction center. That's where we come from, under Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. So our AIM center is one such center, and I'll very briefly talk about this in a short while from now. Incidentally, एक शब्द हम बहुत कॉमनली इस्तेमाल करते हैं इस फील्ड में, डी एडिक्शन सेंटर. पर्सनली आई हेट दिस टर्म. इट साउंड्स लाइक deworming, as if there is something dirty inside your body which can be removed. We don't use the terms like de-diabetization or de-hypertension. Similarly, there is nothing like de-addiction. It's a chronic non-communicable disease. Once someone develops it, you need to find ways to manage this condition. Next slide, please. So this table actually shows a very rough calculation, next please, of the treatment gap which is there for substance use disorders in India. At present, our treatment capacity, the so-called de-addiction center and inpatient treatment, if we go just by them, then हमें 250 साल लग जाएंगे उतने सब लोगों का इलाज करने में जिनको आज इलाज की जरूरत है अल्कोहल के लिए. सिर्फ ड्रग्स तो छोड़ ही दीजिए. So the point one is trying to make here is, अगर हम सिर्फ इस भरोसे पर रहें कि लोगों का इलाज सिर्फ डी एडिक्शन सेंटर या रिहैब सेंटर में भर्ती करके ही हो सकता है, तो हम ये कभी अपना मकसद पा नहीं पाएंगे, और दूसरे सबसे बड़ी बात, इसकी जरूरत भी नहीं है. और यहाँ पर मैं आप लोगों को बताना चाहूंगा हम अपने सेंटर पर क्या और किस तरह का इलाज करते हैं, हमारी फैसिलिटी के बारे में. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. Right. So I'll very briefly give you a glimpse of our center, that's National Drug Dependence Treatment Center, which is located in 10-acre campus in Ghaziabad. Next, please. Right. So basically, we are part of AIMS New Delhi, though we are physically located at a different campus as a dedicated exclusive campus in Ghaziabad. We are functional in this campus from 2003 onwards. We are basically a part of Department of Psychiatry of AIIMS New Delhi. Next, please. Right. So the most important resources which we have at our disposal are the human resources, like any organization. So as we can see here, we have really a multidisciplinary team. We are psychiatrists, consultant psychiatrists, which means faculty members like us. Then there are psychology faculty, biochemistry or chemistry faculties, biostatisticians. We also have social scientists and a wide variety of resident doctors and PhD students who work with us sort of day and night. So this large team is responsible for providing a wide variety of clinical services, as we shall shortly see. Next, please. So as I was telling you earlier also, there is a certain philosophy of treatment which we observe at NDDTC, and in fact, which any decent treatment facility for substance use disorders is expected to follow. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल हम समझते हैं कि एडिक्शन इज अ बायो साइको सोशल प्रॉब्लम. तो ये एक ऐसी बीमारी है जिसमें बायोलॉजी का, शारीरिक और मानसिक समस्याओं का और सामाजिक पहलुओं का सबका इसमें योगदान होता है. और इसीलिए इलाज के लिए भी a combination of medical, psychological, social, all kinds of approaches are required. But this treatment must be 100% voluntary and with respect for patients' autonomy. That's what we practice here. People often call us and ask us, हमारे घर पे एक मरीज है, बहुत परेशान कर रहे हैं, इलाज के लिए भर्ती तैयार नहीं है, क्या आप किसी को भेज सकते हैं हमारे पास एम्बुलेंस में, वो उनको उठाकर ले जाएं और बंद कर दें आपके सेंटर में. वो इलाज हम नहीं करते और ना हम उसको करने की किसी को सलाह देते हैं. ट्रीटमेंट हैज टू बी फुल्ली वॉलंटरी विद द फुल कंसेंट एंड ऑटोनॉमी ऑफ द पर्सन. ऑल्सो वी रिकॉग्नाइज, जिस तरह से हम डायबिटीज या ब्लड प्रेशर की इलाज की बात करते हैं, एडिक्शन भी ऐसी बीमारी है जिसके लिए लॉन्ग टर्म ट्रीटमेंट की जरूरत पड़ती है. कई महीनों, कई साल तक ये इलाज चल सकता है और हमारे सेंटर पे भी ऐसा इलाज मरीजों को मुफ्त मिलता है, जो कई सालों तक उन्हें मुफ्त हमारे यहाँ से दवाइयाँ मिलती रहती हैं. Most importantly, the last point, that the most patients can be helped from outpatient treatment itself. As I was saying earlier, ये एक भ्रम है कि मरीज को भर्ती करना जरूरी है. अधिकतर मरीज 80-90% मरीजों का इलाज आउट पेशेंट में घर पर रहकर दवाइयां खाते हुए भी किया जा सकता है. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. Right. So in terms of our clinical care services, as I was saying, our main focus is on these outpatient services. We have a walk-in clinic every day, which means on all working days, कोई भी आके बस अपना कार्ड बनवा सकता है और इलाज शुरू करवा सकता है अपनी मर्जी से. We also offer some specialty clinics once a week for adolescent population, for female population, for dual diagnosis, for behavioral addictions. So for special clinics are also there for special kind of conditions. In our pharmacy, we provide free of cost medications for all type for long-term care. Next, please. So besides these outpatient services, we also have inpatient services in the form of a 50-bedded hospital for which we have round-the-clock availability of medical and support staff. तो सबसे बड़ी स्पेशलिटी है हमारे हॉस्पिटल की that we offer graded levels of care. Most patients require routine stay, which means 3 to 4 weeks. That's the standard stay. अधिकतर मरीज 3 से 4 हफ्ते उनको इलाज कराना पड़ता है हॉस्पिटल के अंदर रह के. बाद में उनका इलाज ओपीडी में चलता रहता है. कुछ मरीज ऐसे होते हैं जिनको लॉन्ग स्टे की जरूरत पड़ती है, नाइट हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन. इसका मतलब क्या हुआ? ये वो लोग हैं जिनका घर बार नहीं है या जिनको पास काम धंधा नहीं है. तो हम इनकी ये मदद करते हैं कि आप कुछ दिन हमारे अस्पताल में भर्ती रह जाइए, आप रात को अस्पताल में सोइए, दिन में सुबह आप चले जाइए, काम ढूंढिए, काम करना शुरू कीजिए, पैसा कमाना शुरू कीजिए, 2-3 महीने और फिर वापस आके हॉस्पिटल में सो जाइए. 2-3 महीने ऐसा चलता रहेगा, आप पैसा कमा लेंगे, उसके बाद फिर इस लायक आप बन पाएंगे कि अकेले इंडिपेंडेंटली बाहर रह पाए. तो वी ऑफर नाइट हॉस्पिटलाइजेशन and the opposite of it is day care, where there are some patients who spend the night at their homes with their families but spend a major time of day with us in our daycare, learning something, reading something, or just staying in a safe place. So that's another variety of treatment that we offer. Next, please. Most importantly, many people will say कि भाई आप तो एम्स हैं, इतना बड़ा अस्पताल है, आपके पास तो इतना बड़ा अस्पताल रहेगा, तो आप तो बढ़िया इलाज करोगे ही. Just to demonstrate that with low resources also and poor infrastructure also, you can offer services closer to the community. We run 3 community outreach clinics in 3 different areas of Delhi. There is one in Trilokpuri, one in Sundarnagari, one in Kotla Mubarak. All these 3 clinics have their own unique kind of specialty and population which they cater to. The idea is a demonstration that this is how low resource, low threshold services can be offered. So खास तौर से गरीब लोगों के लिए जो दूर नहीं आ सकते, उनके घर के पास छोटी सी जगह में भी आप कैसे इलाज मुहैया करा सकते हैं. जो हमारा सुंदर नगरी वाला क्लिनिक है, वो तो देश का पहला मोबाइल डिस्पेंसिंग चलाता है. यानी एक गाड़ी है जिसमें रोज गाड़ी जाती है, गाड़ी एक जगह खड़ी रहती है, वहां मरीज रोज आकर अपनी दवाई हमारे सामने खाकर जाते हैं और फिर नशे से दूर रहने में उनको मदद मिलती है. कोटला मुबारकपुर का वाला क्लिनिक हमारा रैन बसेरा के साथ चलता है, जिसमें हम होमलेस पॉपुलेशन इनके लिए कुछ करने की कोशिश करते हैं. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. These are some of the statistics, as you can appreciate here, that we see about 10,000 new cases every year in our OPD, and a fraction of them, just about 1,200 patients, they require inpatient treatment. Most of them, they make around 70,000 odd visits every year in our OPD follow-ups. So once again, buttressing, strengthening that point, that treatment of addiction actually requires outpatient clinic-based systems rather than hospitalization or rehab centers. Next, please. Is it enough? Next, please. Basically, we all understand एम्स का एक क्लिनिक, एक अस्पताल या 3 क्लिनिक से फायदा नहीं होगा. इनकी दुनिया में, देश में बहुत जगहों पर इससे इलाज की जरूरत है. And hence, a major part of our work is public health activities like this. We have been developing capacity building aids and resource material. हम लोग खुद भी ट्रेनिंग करते आ रहे हैं. We conduct research and evidence building and give policy advice to the governments, and we develop models of care which can then be replicated. तो हम लोग कुछ करने की कोशिश करते हैं जिसको देखकर, जिसको समझकर बाकी लोग, देश के बाकी अस्पताल, बाकी राज्य में भी इस तरह की चीजें रिपीट की जा सके, रेप्लिकेट की जा सके. नेक्स्ट प्लीज. So these are some of the examples of next please, some of the examples actually of the resource material which we have developed in the form of training material and training manuals. Next slide please. Right, so these are covers of training material and training manuals which we have developed for a variety of audience: doctors, nurses, counselors, paramedical professionals, and so on. Next, please. Right, but and the new area in which we are now entering is online training. So we have developed the online training modules of various kinds, and very soon they will be rolled out in the public domain at a much larger scale. At this moment, they are getting more of pilot tested, but very soon we will have this force multiplier kind of effect by availability of online resources and training for health professionals. Next, please. Right. We also support various government hospitals across the country in running clinics in the form of drug treatment clinics or addiction treatment facilities. This with the support of Ministry of Health and Family Welfare and Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. So one aspect is we doing things ourselves, another is conducting training, and third is supporting and mentoring other hospitals through provision of funds, manpower, resources, as well as training and medicines to them to develop and run these kind of treatment services. Next, please. Right. So to conclude here, once again, substance use disorders are multifactorial, chronic, relapsing conditions just like diabetes or hypertension, etc. They require long-term evidence-based treatment. What we require actually is basic vanilla kind of treatment integration with health services at a large scale. There are no quick fix solutions. There are no need to look for very fancy kind of approaches here. Just plain, simple, basic stuff, vanilla stuff, which is sort of delivered without any stigma, without any misconceptions. That would be great. Problem is this area, particularly the treatment, is low priority area often for our government in their health and welfare sector. And hence inadequate resources are available for treatment. A lot of noise is made. Yes, drugs are a big problem. So rallies are held. People are asked to be put behind bars even if they are caught with 10 grams of ganja or so on. तो हम जेल में डालना या रैलियां करना या समाज में जागरूकता फैलना, इसके ऊपर शोर शराबा बहुत करते हैं. तो जो लोग सचमुच में पीड़ित हैं, प्रताड़ित हैं, परेशान हैं, बीमार हैं, उनके इलाज के लिए सुविधाएं बढ़ाने का काम वो किया जाना बहुत जरूरी है. कुछ इनिशिएटिव्स गवर्नमेंट ने लिए हैं. फॉर एग्जांपल नेशनल एक्शन प्लान ऑन ड्रग डिमांड रिडक्शन, विच इज वेलकम एंड विच आर रीजन फॉर होप. उम्मीद करते हैं कि ये सारे प्रोग्राम्स जो हैं आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे और भी ज्यादा लोगों तक इनकी पहुंच बढ़ेगी. थैंक यू वेरी मच. नेक्स्ट प्लीज, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, फॉर दिस अपॉर्चुनिटी. आई एम सॉरी फॉर दीज टेक्निकल प्रॉब्लम्स. मुझे खुशी होगी इस बारे में कुछ सवालों जवाबों का में शामिल होने के लिए.
Sir, there is a question. One of the students asked, one student asked that, how do I know if I or someone else close to me is addicted to alcohol or drugs?
Right. Right. So one is a clear cut, if that behavior is very clearly visible to you, that person has been consuming that particular substance or drug multiple times a day and every day. If it's visible to you that the person finds it difficult to stay without taking drugs, then it's very clear that person is probably suffering from addiction. There are some other indirect signs also. So suppose there has been a drastic change in person's lifestyle and daily routine. There are unexplained absences. जहाँ होने चाहिए वहाँ नजर नहीं आते हैं. There are unexplained loss of money, spending a lot of time alone or with a new set of people, new set of social network in which they were not involved in earlier. A difficulty in their much decline in their performance level as a student, as a worker, or whatever work they have been doing. So if some of these changes are visible, we can expect that person is probably suffering from drug use problems, alcohol use problems. Once you discover this, the idea is not to look for any drastic penal measures, give punishment to the people, but sitting with them, talking with them, having a more kind of empathic and non-judgmental attitude with them.
Right, that's pretty comprehensive. And second question is, at what point during rehabilitation process can a doctor be sure that the particular patient will not go back to substance abuse?
Right. At what point someone suffering from diabetes can say that he will never have a high blood sugar again, right? So it's as simple as that, right? People are suffering from a chronic disorder, which is going to last them for a very long time, in some cases even lifelong also. So in other words, the kind of efforts which are required on their part will be much more intensive in the initial days and weeks. Then from next few months to perhaps a few years, the intensity of those efforts, the treatment and the other lifestyle changes may be slightly more relaxed. And if things go well, then perhaps one can help for resumption of totally a non-diseased kind of lifestyle a few years down the line. But the risk of relapse would remain. And even if this relapse occurs, it's nothing to really worry about, because it's a part and parcel of recovery process. So even if someone relapses, the message should be, it's fine even if you relapse, just immediately contact whoever was helping you earlier in the event of a relapse and try resuming the entire treatment package with the same intensity once again. You will once again come out of it, and there are quite a few people who will require actually 4 or 5 such or even more of such relapse remission cycles before achieving a long-term kind of recovery.